Tempo is a complicated idea. There are a lot of things that go into tempo, but today I want to share with you guys one simple trick you can use in your lane phases to make sure you match your tempo with your lane opponent. So first things first, quick rundown of tempo. Very basically, it's just the idea that you want to apply your pressure at the same time your team is applying pressure, right? If your team's like attacking an objective, like they're setting up for dragon, you want to also be setting up for dragon or attacking something of equal pressure on the map. If you're in base while your team's attacking the dragon, you're off tempo. Now, this also applies to your enemy. You want to make sure that your enemy doesn't have an opportunity to play the game, like opportunity to be on tempo, while you're in base. So you don't want to be in base while your opponent is, killing your bot lane or whatever it might be. So to fix that, in lane phase, I have something called the 10-second rule. The 10-second rule is when you get a kill on your lane opponent, you want to start to back when their death timer is around 10 seconds. Now, I'm going to show you guys some examples here and we will explain further. Okay, so in this first clip, I'm playing Fizz. I'm playing against an auction here and I get away with a kill. Now, this is a super common scenario where, we're playing lane phase. We're only a minute or two into the game and you get away with a kill and you think, how should I back? When should I back? Now, here in this situation, take a look at this. You can see his death timer, since we're only like 2 minutes into the game, his death timer is only 10 seconds. That means I'm going to want to back right away. So I want to kind of ask first, okay, like how can I get my back off easiest? In this scenario, we can see my wave is pushing. If I back right now, he's going to have a big freeze. He's going to be up XP. It's not going to be good. So what do I have to do here? What do you guys think? By the way, if you want to, I'm going to ask what you guys think before every scenario. Feel free to drop in the comments before I give the answer. And that will be a good way to kind of, like a mini quiz. What Fizz has to do here is Fizz has to crash this wave and back immediately as fast as he can, dropping resources to push. He'll kite this way, everything to get out of here as fast as possible, right? This is scenario number 1. The timer is below 10 seconds. That's the 10-second rule, right? We're checking this death timer. Now, let's say that Fizz doesn't realize this and Fizz backs right away without crashing his wave, and ignoring the back fundamentals. Then Auction's just going to be able to catch this wave, and then Auction's going to be able to crash the next wave, and he's just on tempo. He's going to be able to apply much more pressure quicker than Fizz will be able to. If he overstays and he decides to slow push this, then Auction's going to show up before Fizz got to back. And then if Auction's up a back, he's just going to be able to, kill the Fizz or freeze the lane or roam or do whatever he wants, right? So that's example number 1. Let's check out another example. Here in this game, I'm playing Zed in a very similar situation against Auction. You can see we're playing lane out a little bit. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated. We're poking the Auction, whatever. Lane is going pretty normal. And then we end up getting a nice little all-in opportunity onto him. And boom, he's dead. Now, this one is trickier. Once again, we kill Auction. It's super early, so his death timer is like 12 seconds. We only have 1 or 2 seconds to manage the wave, and then we want to get out. So what should Zed do here? What should Zed do? The important information to look at is, okay, think about 1, the back fundamentals. Can I back? When can I back? Can Zed back right now? Maybe. When's the next wave coming? What's the next wave going to be? Do we have time to crash this next wave? We do not have time to crash this next wave. So what should Zed do? Zed should back right away. If he backs right away, the wave's going to stay in the middle. He's going to come back to lane. We can even check Zed's gold. He'll be able to buy a serrated Dirk. Auction's not going to be able to buy anything. Maybe just buy boots or something like very, very small. Maybe some potions. And when Zed comes back to lane here, he's going to be on the map at the same time as the Auction. And he's going to be able to just run the lane. If Zed decides to push, so he decides to push this, and then the next wave lands here, and then he has to push this one because it's so close, then he's going to start backing right as Auction shows up. So then the Zed will go back, Auction will get to push the wave while Zed's not here, and even though Zed is ahead in items, Auction's going to get a free roam on the map, and then he's going to end up potentially dying, or potentially getting some kills and making the game a lot harder for Zed, even though Zed's really far ahead. So to match your tempo with your lane opponent, again, it's the step-by-step process. You get the kill, you think, okay, how much time do I have until their death timer is roughly around 10 seconds? Call it the 10-second rule. And then according to the back fundamentals, when can I back, right? Is my wave frozen? Do I have to crash it? Can I leave it how it is? Etc, etc. Okay, let's go on to the third example. Okay, so in this third example, I'm actually playing the auction, and I believe I killed this Annie even earlier, and she ends up dying. She ends up dying right away. Now, if the auction, this one is really complicated because there are kind of two acceptable answers. So since we killed Annie on the very first wave, she's not here, right? And the death timer is 5 seconds. It's already way below the 10-second rule. So since we killed her on the first wave, it's really tricky. The first question is, can we back right now? Like, will we lose a lot of minions for this? And the answer is, if you're not very confident with your mid lane wave management, this will actually come back towards the auction. The auction can actually back here, and it would be just fine for him. And that's probably what I would expect an intermediate to an advanced player to do. I would expect an advanced player to recall here. Spend your longsword, you're on the map at the same time, you have a freeze, you go just completely take control of the map. Annie can't buy anything. She has 0 gold. She might have enough gold for 1 potion, and that's it. However, if we play this situation out in a real game, because this is the second wave of the game, we know the next wave is going to be a cannon wave, right? Because cannons spawn in every third wave in the beginning. So we know the first wave was a normal wave, second wave is a normal wave. We know the third one's going to be a cannon. So if we spend time to push this, we know Annie won't be able to crash the cannon before we get back. So if you are a top tier player and you know that Annie's not going to be able to crash that cannon, and maybe in the game state that you're playing in, maybe your bot lane's not too far pushed up, and maybe your top lane, maybe people are just chilling, and you know that she will not have any opportunity, it's okay to be a little bit off tempo if Annie can't use that tempo. So this is the most complicated example. I would expect an intermediate to an advanced player to back right away. Now, based on game state, I would expect a top tier player to actually probably stay, crash this wave, get a little bit more money, and then back. Of course, that's going to depend on the exact game scenario, but the things you want to be thinking about is, when can you back according to the back fundamentals, right? What can you buy? How many minions will you lose? And then the tempo of the opponents. If you start recalling when her death timer is less than 10 seconds, she will be on the map before you, and that may cause problems. So to prevent that, we have the 10-second rule. Now, before we wrap up this video, let's talk about why it's the 10-second rule. And if you think about it, it starts to make sense. First, how long does recall take? Recall takes 8 seconds. So, initially you're like, oh, then why don't we call it the 8-second rule? Well, because you're going to have to spend time to walk back to a spot to back. When you respawn, you also get home guards, so she's going to run out of base faster, and then we're also going to have to wait for health and mana. So 10-second rule. It's the 8-second recall plus a little bit of leeway for buying items, plus to account for home guard, plus to account for this. Sometimes if you have to run further back, you can even view the rule as a little bit bigger, maybe the 15-second rule. But this is a quick little easy way to understand tempo in lane phase. Of course, as the game goes on, the death timers will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So as the death timers, let's say you kill somebody and they have 30 seconds on their death timer now instead of 5. Well, now you can do stuff for 20 seconds. And then you can back. So if her death timer is for 20 seconds, I could push this wave. Maybe I even go for a little invade, and then we back, right? So the amount of stuff you could do depends on how long it takes for her to get back. The 10-second rule is what we're trying to match up with. I hope this little tip helped you guys with your macro. These little examples are from 1v1s that we ran in my academy. If you would like to 1v1 me and do 1v1 practice and then reviews and all that, make sure you guys check out my academy. It's a little coaching platform. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.